You guys keep it down.
I can't. Sure.
They need to hear the theme music.
We'll just whisper over top of it. You worked really hard on this music.
Worked so hard on
We already did this though. We need to keep going.
the music. It's true. Hello.
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 We're getting meta today, folks. Yeah, audience members, that's right. Every single week when we record, we have to sit silently through that music.
And most weeks we end up laughing because silently, but for some reason it's funny. Silence is funny.
It is funny.
Sid always just makes a funny face whenever the music comes on because she hates the song.
That's so funny.
I have never made a funny face
Oh my gosh.
in my life.
There's so many
Stop playing games,
funny
you guys.
You need to be stopped right now. You're done. Becca, I need...
Becca, you're
Okay,
just so
bye.
funny.
I know.
You're
Thank
so
you.
funny. You know,
Thank
I love, like,
you.
talking during the podcast because I'm just looking at all your guys' games.
It's true. We do have a shelf of games right in Sid's eye line.
Yes.
Fortunately for me, I get to look at Ryan Gosling and Timothée Chalamet.
I'm really jealous. I'm just going to bring, like, some rear view mirrors so I can just...
Just see behind you.
Yeah.
See that little boy under the sheet, dressed like a ghost.
It's not
It's
working
not a
for me.
little boy.
It could be. You don't know.
We don't know if that's Casey Affleck.
That is
or
not. There's no way that's Casey Affleck. They did not pay Casey Affleck
Yeah,
to
probably
take
not.
that picture.
Maybe they did. You don't know.
I guarantee they didn't.
Well, I don't think it's a little boy.
But it could be.
Whatever.
We're talking about the poster for a ghost story that's hanging on our wall. Really great audio content here, guys. Hello and welcome to episode 36.
I have no idea. I
don't
stopped
know.
keeping track.
Episode 36 until further notice of We Watch Movies and Then Talk About Them. The only podcast on the internet where we watch a movie and then talk about it.
This is 44.
No, this is 35.
Then why does this say 44 or 43?
Because, Sid, there are numbered episodes
Oh,
and there are not numbered episodes.
I'm sorry. Kick me out
Our
of the
special
podcast.
episodes don't have a number.
That makes sense.
We have that many special episodes?
Yeah, we've got like 10 between all the Halloween stuff and the top movies
Ah.
and
Okay.
Wow.
yeah,
That makes
Oscar
sense.
nomination one we did. Anyway, welcome to episode 35 of We Watch Movies and Then Talk About Them, the only podcast on the internet where we watch a movie and then talk about it. There may be other podcasts where they watch a movie and then talk about it, but this is the only one where we do that. My name is Andrew Westonsko. I am the host of this here podcast. I am joined at my right hand in life and in all things by Becca.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well.
Good. And at my left hand by Sid.
Hello.
It's not as exciting as the right hand, but it's the only other one that I have.
Sorry, I couldn't be better.
Well, I just only have one right hand.
Yeah.
But if we ever get like a fourth person on the podcast, I'm going to figure out who actually is at my left hand. You know what I mean?
And then someone's just left out.
And then someone's going to be left out. Then we'll be like, and then we got this dude.
They're just not introduced, but there's 4 people talking.
100%.
They never talk. You just like hear them like coughing in the background.
Let's jump into this a little bit with my new favorite segment of the podcast. And that's after watching this movie, where are we on the existential dread scale?
Oh.
Now, to remind the audience, standard level is about a 65%, right?
And this is
Yeah.
for Sid only, right?
This is just for Sid, yeah.
After just the movie, 82%.
82%, wow. That's quite the spike. That's almost a 20% spike in the existential dread meter.
Wait, I thought it was at 75 to begin with.
65 I thought was
I don't remember.
standard.
Oh.
65 we'll say. That's
Okay.
our baseline.
Yeah.
All right.
It never drops below 65%.
Never. Mm-mm. I've never experienced it.
After watching Paddington 2, firm 65%.
Yeah. That is the lowest it can go. And only Paddington 2 can do that for me.
Because the true baseline is 69.
Nice.
Today we watched, I'm sure I'm going to say his name wrong, Michael Haneke, his 2007 remake of his own 1997 film of the same name, Funny Games, hence all of the horrible jokes that we were trying to make at the beginning of the podcast.
I thought we were pretty funny with the games we played. Okay, I'm done.
It's over, Becca.
Oh,
Now,
dang it.
this movie does contain some games. It is not super funny, but maybe
No.
there's a couple chuckles here and there.
I don't remember chuckling ever in this movie.
Oh, okay. Well, Michael Haneke's Funny Games stars just the whitest of white gloves this side of a proctologist's office. And it is about a family that is just trying to have a vacation in their summer home. And things go just a little bit awry. Is that a fair description?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the lesson that we should take from this movie is to never lend eggs to anyone ever.
Ever.
I was going to say don't be rich.
Oh, that too.
So I'm doing pretty good.
I'm
in
doing
that area.
fantastic. Yeah. Doing great.
So we're safe. Woo!
Nobody ever wants to murder a poor family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Richard Ramirez did.
Well, we also lock our
He
doors.
didn't he rob them?
No, Richard Ramirez killed the crap out of a ton of people.
Yeah.
He was a super murderer.
I don't think he robbed them. Oh.
I said nobody ever wants to kill a poor family.
Why was I thinking robbing?
I don't know. He
'Cause
did
he's
rob them
rich.
too, though.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, Richard Ramirez, not a great guy. The
No.
Night Stalker. Not a great guy.
No.
We do not condone the actions of Richard Ramirez on this podcast. Just felt the need to say that. Guys, this one is maybe, I don't know how to put this, the I guess the most probably disturbing movie that we've covered so far.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What would you...
Well, as soon as you said disturbing, I just immediately thought of the scene in Hereditary.
I guess that's true. We've had Hereditary, we've had Prisoners.
I just don't think I've seen a scene more disturbing than the one specific scene in Hereditary.
The car ride through the country, you mean?
Oh, no, I was thinking about just when they were like smoking and hanging out. That's it.
Oh, under the bleachers? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty...
part- I had nightmares about that for weeks.
Yeah, man. The youths are definitely
that
off
was,
track.
That was scary for sure.
I will say this, though. This might be the movie that we've watched with the most limited audience. I'd wager that very, very, very few people who listen to the podcast regularly have seen this movie. I was introduced to it through the joys of the Criterion Collection. And because they announced that they were coming out with a version of it, I thought the cover art was really, really cool. So I looked it up, watched it, and I watched it maybe 3 or 4 months ago, just by myself. And then I bought the Criterion version because I was so impressed with it. And here we are.
And he wouldn't stop talking about it, so we watched it.
That's actually true.
That's how most of these movies are. Just Andrew won't shut up about it, so we finally give in and we watch it.
I'm just more vocal than you guys. You guys just need to have a little bit more, power in your
Fine.
speech.
Next week we're doing Paddington 2.
Dude, I'm down.
I actually won't be here next week. The week after we do Midsummer.
Okay. We can do Paddington 2. I have no problem with that. Are you going to give it a 10, Sid?
Do we have to watch the
wait
first
and
one?
The people can't hear the faces you're making.
Just describe them.
It's what's the emoji?
The shrugging.
Yeah, the weird one.
We'll just have to wait and see.
We'll have to see if Sid gives
It's a
Paddington 2 a
surprise.
10.
I give it a 1. I hate that movie. Just kidding.
Didn't see that coming. All right, here's the thing, folks. This movie is... If you're listening to this having not watched the movie, I guess a little disclaimer here. It's not for the faint of heart. It's pretty brutal, but not... when I first heard about it, I heard that it was pretty brutal, and it wasn't brutal in the way that I was expecting after hearing that it's brutal. It's not like...
You don't see a lot of the violence.
Yeah, it's not excessively violent at all. It's incredibly emotionally distressing. So if you are I guess, worried about being emotionally distressed, this one might give you some anxiety. But having said that, there is a lot going on here and a lot to talk about. And I am excited to do so because I'm curious what you guys think of it. I have my thoughts, and especially because this is the second time that I've seen it. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. I do want to kick us off with something, though. Just to lighten the mood just a tad little bit. It's something that I saw on the Facebooks, and this is just going to get us in a little bit more of a little bit of a happy mood, right? And I'm going to put you guys on the spot here. This is a personality quiz. All right, are you ready?
Oh boy.
All right. You are reborn today, but not as a human, as a basket of 4 ingredients for the popular Food Network TV show Chopped. What 4 ingredients are you?
Do they have to go together?
No, the whole point of Chopped is to screw people up.
That's fair.
And you can choose you want to be the appetizer, entree, or dessert.
Okay, 4 ingredients.
Okay,
I
go.
would be number 1, popcorn.
Okay.
2, salsa. 3, pickles. And 4, I need something better to tie together. 4, bananas.
All right.
And you have to make a dessert.
A dessert with pickles and salsa?
Yes, and
Wow.
popcorn and bananas.
Popcorn and bananas, that's easy. You can make
Well,
some
yeah.
sort of like, I feel like you can make like a crunchy, like brittle.
Yeah. But yeah, it'd have to be like a spicy popcorn. There's spicy popcorn there. Like we
Yeah,
have a
for sure.
little like a jalapeno stuff.
we
that
never
you
use
could
it.
Put on it. Yeah, because I don't want spicy popcorn. That sounds gross.
All right, Sid, your 4 ingredients go.
Okay. Let's go pasta.
What kind? Just
Rigatoni.
okay.
Peaches.
Ooh.
String cheese.
All right.
And frog tongue.
Can you eat frog tongue?
I don't know, but they always put weird stuff in those baskets, so you have to put
You
something
can eat
weird.
frog
That's
legs.
No, we're gonna go tongue.
Okay, frog tongue. I feel like it would just cook down to nothing, but
I don't care. It's in there.
I'm no expert.
Peach pasta. That sounds like it could be good.
Yeah, it was like you had
Like
me
some kind
until
of
the frog
peach
tongue. All right, here we go. And it's an entree, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll do the appetizer here.
Okay.
This is your appetizer ingredients. All right, folks. You have salmon. And I wasn't anticipating doing an entree, so I'm trying to think of something that's not too heavy here. You have salmon. You have raw red onions. You have prosciutto. And Code Red Mountain Dew. You have to make an appetizer out of
This
that.
just makes me hungry.
I feel like you could make like a little salad out of that.
Make like a, yeah, because the prosciutto and the salmon could go.
And just the Mountain Dew is just the dressing.
Well, yeah, you
Yeah.
do. You like distill it down into like a weird cherry vinaigrette.
No, just straight up Mountain Dew. You just
All right, folks, that's our lightened mood here. We're all a little happy here. All right, we're going to talk about funny games now. Again, if you haven't seen this movie, if you're not faint of heart, check it out because I'll say up front, I think it's incredibly worthwhile. It's not an easy watch, but I think especially for heavy consumers of cinema, it's worthwhile to watch it and then talk about it afterwards, which is what we do, ironically, on this podcast. So here we go. We're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be starting out with some hot takes and then discussion. Sid's going to have what little trivia. I don't know. Is there even any worthwhile trivia?
there are like a few.
Okay. Then we'll do our ratings out of 10, put it on the Weston scale, and then we'll move on to some other topics, specifically talking about how excited we are for Midsummer. So, let's get right in with some hot takes. Don't burn yourself on these hot takes. Becca, how hot is your hot take?
My hot take is fairly hot. I feel like I don't really understand what determines the heat of my hot take.
You determine the heat of your hot take.
I feel like it changes every week, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's hot so that you'll all listen to me.
Nice. I like spicy hot takes.
All right. Well, I thought the first half of this movie was boring until I decided I was on board, and then I really liked it.
The half. What do you define as the first half?
Okay.
We're spoiling, by the way.
I'm trying to pinpoint the moment that I decided I was in. And I think it was when they were in the room. They spent most of the time in that front room.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember exactly which moment it was. I think it was just when they started playing games in the room. It's not too long after they got in there.
Okay. That's not quite half then.
So yeah, I guess the beginning.
And that's fine. The beginning is a little slow.
Yeah, and it's not even that it's slow that it bothered me. It's just that everybody was acting so strange. All of them were acting strange, not just the two crazy kids. The whole family was. And I feel like they would have been or should have been more forceful to get the kids to leave. Or I don't know. It was just kind of weird. So it took me a while to settle in and be okay, this is just kind of a quirky movie. But then once I was okay with the quirkiness of it, I was kind of surprised at how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah. A lot of words to describe this movie. I don't know that I would have used quirky. But
Well, but do you know what I mean?
I do. I
say
get what you mean. I know what you mean.
The two guys are both just psychopaths, but just everything happens in a very, I don't know, that seems like the best word to describe it to me, in a very quirky way. When you think about a movie or a story about a family being held hostage, I feel like there's more force behind it, and the people are more evil and creepy, but these two guys were just weird.
Yeah.
And in a very polite way. They were weird, and they just were dressed very nice and wanted to be clean, and so that just was hard to get on board with at first, but once I finally did, I think I enjoyed the movie a lot more.
All right on. Sid, 83%.
No, we're still at 82.
Okay. How hot is your hot take?
I don't want to say it in case I'm wrong.
You determine the heat of your hot take.
I feel like it's pretty hot.
Oh, spicy. Hit me.
So I liked this more than I thought I would. It was a hard watch, and it wasn't very fun to watch. Contrary to what you may think, it's not very fun. But there were so many things about it that I really enjoyed. As much as they suck, I really liked the characters of the bad guys. Paul and Peter, they were just they were such dicks, but they were very charismatic when they were on screen. And yeah, I just thought they were really interesting. And thinking to other movies that have a similar, I'm thinking of The Strangers, where that one is very much played off as a horror, because there were so many times when this movie could have got you with some cheap jump scares, or just ratcheting up the tension with music, but there's hardly any music, and there are so many panning shots that I was just expecting there to be someone standing the next time they panned over,
when she's going in and out of the fridge at the beginning.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely scary and nerve-wracking, but in a different, more effective way. So yeah, I liked it. I
Well,
don't
that's
know. Guess
spicy.
It's not that hot.
You guys,
Now I-
you
now
guys
I'm
look
all-
to me like I have some definition of what makes a hot take hot.
I'm all self-conscious.
You determine the heat of your hot take. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm like, oh, it's a cold hot take. If you came in here and you were like, man, movie, and that was your hot take, yeah, that's a cold hot take. But like, my hot take. I am into this movie. I don't know that I would say that I like it because it's not pleasant to watch. It's not fun to watch. I think that one of the more interesting aspects of this movie is that it manages to be a pretty wildly entertaining home invasion movie while at the same time almost satirizing home invasion movies and violent cinema in general and criticizing the audience. It's basically, the movie seems like it's mad at you for liking it. And I think that it speaks to the skill of the direction going on here, that it's able to do that. It's able to be a really entertaining movie and then at the same time like make you feel bad for being entertained by it because like what's going on is not entertaining. I don't know. There's just it's obviously incredibly self-aware and very meta at times. I mean, they break the fourth wall. And just a side note, I'm a huge fan of fourth wall breaks. I think they're way underutilized.
I am too. I really liked how they did it in this one.
Yeah. But yeah, I like I said, I think that it communicates its themes in a very effective way that leaves you coming out of the movie, like I said, almost feeling bad for having liked it. And I always like Becca's definition of a good movie is one that leaves you thinking about it. And I've been thinking about this one like nonstop since I watched it in March. So, oh, there you go. That's my hot take. I feel like that was a bit rambly, more so than usual.
I thought it was fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You didn't think it was too funny?
No.
Thank you. So let's get down to some nuts and bolts. I have a number of things that I specifically think this movie does incredibly well. I guess, like I said, I'm not going to, I guess, get all pedantic over the vocabulary that I'm using. Like, I think that it's safe to say that none of us are like, well, I love this movie, because it's not pleasant to watch. So when I say things like your favorite part or your favorite aspect, it's not like, ooh, this was great. It made me really happy when they freaking stabbed the dude. Like, we're talking about from a filmmaking perspective.
Yes.
So, what were you guys' favorite aspects of this movie? What did you think was most successful in this movie?
I think for me, one of the most successful parts is when Peter and Paul leave, and it's like halfway through the movie and they're just gone. And I was left thinking like, oh, is it over now? Are they going to get help? Are they going to get out? And then we were still watching Anne and George try to like find a way out. But I don't know. So I guess like it gave you a sense of safety almost for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And then just took it right away.
Yeah, I think that is, the most effective sequence of the movie. Gosh, how long is that? It's got to be close to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it has
That
to
one
be.
scene.
That one take.
Yeah.
Where it is just like focused on her after they shoot Georgie. And she gets up and gets out of her tape and then goes and helps George Sr. And that, just the starkness of that shot. Because I would almost disagree with you. I think that why that's so effective is that even though they're gone, I don't think it gives the audience any hope. Like, I mean, even the first time watching it, I didn't expect them to get away or to be all right. You know what I mean?
Well, and I guess not necessarily a sense of hope, but oh, it's over. You know,
Yeah.
like they're alive. They left. You know, like it's not, that doesn't usually happen in a home invasion movie. Like you don't see them leave and then come back like that.
Yeah.
So it was like surprising, and I had no idea what to expect. And
Yeah, and I would agree with that, because I think that what it's doing there, rather than giving hope, is it's toying with your expectations, right? Like, these guys are so unpredictable in the way that they are handling this situation of taking this family hostage, that, like, I don't think anything good is going to happen, but I have no idea what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And, like, it does make you wonder, like, oh, is it over? And, like, the movie has been so idiosyncratic up to that point that, like, you could almost, like, see a world where the director is like, yep, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, or even like Peter and Paul are in the rest of the movie. You know, like other terrible
Yeah, it just, like,
things
takes a
happen, but,
weird
like,
left turn.
Yeah. So I just, like, was left just not knowing.
Yeah, and I think it effectively keeps the momentum of the film going, where they do spend so much time just in that room. I think that in a weird way, how it, like, screeches everything to a halt, it also keeps the momentum of the movie going.
Yeah.
So from a filmmaking perspective, it's also a good scene.
Well, and veering from that a little bit. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, but
It's
That's what you do on a podcast.
Well,
you are a co-host on a podcast.
You asked a question and I didn't let everybody answer, and now I'm talking about something else.
That's fine.
Go for
okay.
it.
Well, anyway, I really liked how they didn't ever show anything. Like, they never showed the violence. They showed, like, the aftermath, but, like, that scene specifically, like, it didn't even show her, like, go in and get the knife and cut herself loose. We just hear it all happening. And it didn't show them shoot the boy. We just heard it happening.
With the exception of her shooting Paul.
Yes, but that gets taken back.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. And that's, well, I wanted to ask you that.
I read an
Actually.
interesting article about this movie after I watched it the first time. That uses that and the scene where they make Anne get naked as basically Haneke's extended commentary on censorship. That, like, even though all of these terrible things are happening, we are not shown them, but that doesn't lessen their impact on us, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
So one, right? Like, we don't see anybody die, but we very much feel it, even though it's not shown in, like, a gruesome way, right? So that's one. Two is that when he's making Anne get naked, he puts a bag over Georgie's head, but makes sure that he's safe and everything. But he has no problem physically and mentally abusing her in front of him. In that, like, in Western society, we very heavily censor anything sexual, but violence is totally fair game, and, like, abuse and mental trauma and things like that. Which I think is a really interesting take on it.
Yeah.
Because
Interesting.
I guess the overarching theme of the movie is, I guess, in reference to the desensitization to violence that we, like I said, in Western film and media specifically, like how desensitized we've become to it. And this presents it in a much starker light. And I think that it's the very long static takes. I think it's the just honestly mind-blowing performances that, like, specifically Naomi Watts turns in, that really frame the violence in, I mean, it sounds weird to say it this way, but, like, in a negative light. So we watch something like John Wick, you know what I mean? And we're like, oh, dude, he just snapped that guy's neck with a book. And we freaking cheer, and, you know, he's throwing knives into people's crotches and things like that. And we're all super into it. But, like, I guess the question that it asks is like, is that something to be celebrated? You know what I mean? Because like violence is bad and killing is bad and murder is bad. But like so often in film and in other media, specifically in the news, we celebrate it or ignore it. And I think that this film makes you face the reality of it in a really, I guess, harrowing way.
Yeah, I don't think I would have picked up on that or thought about it that way at all if you hadn't just said it. Also, because you, before we watched this movie, kept saying that it's just like Videodrome except without the sci-fi. And it's not.
Its themes are.
Yeah, they are. Like, now that we're talking about it like that, I see that, but I didn't see it after just watching the movie.
Gotcha. And as long as I'm rambling here, I think that the secondary theme is that of horror and home invasion and torture movies in general. In that not only in like something like John Wick or Mission Impossible or whatever, are we cheering all of these people dying and, you know, being maimed and all of that. But you watch something like The Strangers, and I think that The Strangers is the kind of movie that, like, if this movie was a person, it would just like want to burn every copy of The Strangers. Because again, we come into this and we know it's a home invasion movie, right? Like that's what I was expecting the first time I watched it. I was like, oh, it's an incredibly disturbing home invasion movie is what I heard. And I was like, okay, let's go. And like, as much as we think that we want the family to get away, or we think that we want them to succeed, that's not why you watch a home invasion movie. That's not why you watch a horror movie. You don't watch a horror movie because you want the good guys to win. Like, you watch a horror movie, and specifically this genre, like a home invasion movie, you watch a movie like that to see people suffer. Like, as gross as that sounds, like that's what this movie does, is it makes you face that's why you watch a movie like this. You know what I mean? And that's something that's, I guess, difficult to admit to yourself, especially as someone who has previously very much enjoyed watching, for example, The Strangers. Like, I've seen it a lot of times, it sits on our shelf and everything, but then like you got to think about why you want to watch it. And I think that this ties into, we went and saw the new Child's Play this week, and I didn't hate it. Becca hated it.
Yep.
But again, like, you got to think about it. Like, she came out of it and we were talking about it, and your comment was basically like, I don't know why I needed to see that. Like, I don't know why, you know what I mean? Like, not misunderstanding what the movie was going for, but like, why did it need to be made? Mm-hmm. And I think it's just like that little bit of self-reflection this movie makes you do, that like, oh, I'm watching a movie. I'm watching this movie to see people suffer and die in horrendous ways, and like maybe reconsider if that's the best way to spend your time. Because that's what the fourth wall breaks do, right? Is he looks at you and he's like, this is what you think you want, right? You want a plausible plot, you want character development, but not what you're getting. So like, you come in with those expectations, and not only does it shut them down, it makes you think about those expectations. And I think, I don't know. Like I said, it's a hard thing to admit to yourself, and it's something that I've thought about quite a bit since watching this. And maybe I need the reminder every once in a while, because I knew what Child's Play was going to be, and I was like, yeah, let's go see it. But like, again, maybe like going into a movie with the express purpose of like, I want to see people die in crazy ways. Like, is that a good thing to want? I don't know.
I feel like I just need to sit and think for 4 hours now.
Sid, what are your thoughts? What's going on? You got a pensive look on your face here, because apparently I have to describe all your reactions to things.
I'm just trying to stay awake right now. Not that you guys aren't interesting, but no, yeah, it does make a lot of sense thinking back to like what we saw in the movie, and like watching it. Like, I knew going into it most likely they weren't getting out of it alive. Like that was just kind of, you know, what is it in Prisoners? Pray for the best, prepare for the worst.
That's what he says.
Yeah. And it's kind of, you know, when like she escapes and she's like running and you're like, you want her to survive, but you know she's not. And I don't know, there's just like a lot of dread in it and you just feel it. And that's why I'm at an 82% right now. Yeah, I feel like a horrible person now for liking this stuff. But I don't know, like also this one is kind of like, you know, like where Child's Play didn't really have a reason for it. This one is kind of, yeah, home invasions happen. There are psychopaths out there who just want to kill people.
Richard Ramirez.
Yeah.
I mean, he's dead now, but he wasn't for a while.
Very true. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, even though it's a hard watch, it is kind of like teaching a bit of a lesson. Just like, don't give people eggs. Don't trust white boys dressed all in white.
Yeah. If somebody's wearing golf clothes around, just forget about it.
Just don't own golf clubs. They could be used against you.
Just, again, don't be rich. That's all you have to do.
Don't own anything that could be used as a bludgeoning weapon.
Against you.
So, got to get rid of the guitar.
I gotta get rid of the guitars.
The tripod.
There's a stool, the chairs.
Yeah, it's all got to go.
Really, anything in here could be used as a weapon. The
that
screwdriver.
Blade Runner book.
Your diplomas. It's all got to go.
Those have done me a lot of good. So. No, and I think that I guess two more thoughts, because this it kind of attacks a lot of these movies from a lot of different points of view, and I think, I mean, and they pointed out, they're so blunt about it, but like, what do they say? Like, all of this for a few eggs. Like, a lot of these movies happen for dumb reasons. And again, I'm gonna poop on the strangers a little bit more here. Is at the end when she's all tied up and they're about to murder her, she's like, "Why us?" And they're like, "Because you were home."
Yeah.
And I used to think like that was such a chilling line, and I'm like, no, that's stupid. But I guess going back to the Richard Ramirez thing, like that's literally what happened. Like he would just pick a random house and go murder people. So I don't know. And two, I think that the movie goes to very deliberate lengths to deny us any satisfaction from any of the deaths. Mm-hmm. And I think to specifically Anne, when like, I mean, they're just chatting and talking and he's just like, "Oh, it's time," pushes her off the boat. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's it. Like there's no fanfare, there's no music, there's no nothing. It's just like, you're gone.
Yeah.
Because I'm in control. This is what I said was going to happen. So it happens.
Mm-hmm. And even the one satisfying death where she shoots Peter
is taken away.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about that scene?
I was very confused, but I think I liked it.
Yeah, I thought they were going to like do more with that later on in the movie. Like
the rewind feature?
Yeah. Or like explain it somehow, but just after like everything that you've said just now, like it does just feel like, I don't know, maybe a little bit meta, but like just like, okay, this happened, but never mind, we're gonna take it away and it's not gonna happen. And so it gives you the like that violence that you want or whatever, and then immediately takes it away. And I think going along with what you're saying, like it just like hits the point again that we want violence and we can't have it with this movie.
Yeah. Because, I mean, think about it. Like, again, I'm thinking back to the first time I watched it. Did I cheer when she ran out the front door? You know what I mean? When I thought that she might get away? Like, did I cheer when the 911 call went through? Like, those are actual gains, I suppose, for them. No, but you can bet your butt that I cheered when she blasted that dude with a shotgun.
I didn't feel bad. I was like, well, now he deserves that.
You know what I mean? But it's like, again, it goes to a lot of lengths to deny us the satisfaction of things that are not actually satisfying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And with all of this, there's of course something to be said of separating art from life, and like obviously something like where we enjoy something like John Wick, like something like that happening in real life, like is tragic and awful.
But it's really cool in a movie.
It's really cool in a movie,
Really cool.
but like I don't know. And I don't even know that the point of this movie is to like make you feel bad for enjoying Mission Impossible or John Wick. I think that it's to, I guess, just get you to self-examine a little bit about why you enjoy certain things and why you are watching certain things. Which is a good way to spend your time.
Yes.
Self-reflection, people, do it.
I think this is going to be a movie that I think about a lot after.
Yeah.
Had we not talked about it, though, I probably would have just immediately forgotten it.
And that's the point of the podcast, Becca.
Yep.
Our mission statement is literally to help people gain a deeper appreciation of film.
We have a mission statement?
It's just in my head.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We haven't written it down, but we've talked about it. Jeez, you guys act like we don't plan these things at all.
Do we plan these things at all?
We roughly plan. We've talked about... Oh my gosh. I'm not doing this on air. We've talked about what we want the podcast to be.
I just meant week to week. We don't really.
Yeah.
We just kind of do it.
Oh yeah, it's because we're not making any money. As soon as somebody starts paying us, then we'll put more than the minimum number of hours into this. But yeah, I think that apart from that, it just huge props to everybody who had a hand in making this movie. I think it's impeccably directed. The tone of it is just soul crushing. Cinematography is outstanding. It's just, and I guess this is a Haneke special. I've never seen any of his other films, but reading about it, it's something that I guess he's known for, is those like static long takes where the camera doesn't move. It just like sits on a scene and things happen. I think there's not a bad performance here. There's not even a mediocre performance here. Every single performance is outstanding. And even the little kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did good.
I always feel a little bad for little kids that have to like act in roles like this. I'm like, how do you not get a little traumatized?
I'm sure he's traumatized.
Like the faces they get him to pull, and
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Music incredibly effective. Because the only music is when they're doing the like classical guessing game at the beginning, and then there's that one like, I don't even know what to call it. Extreme
Just
metal.
Screaming.
Yeah. But it does, I don't know, I think that even the music is a little bit meta because they use it to jar you out of your sense of security. So go there. I don't know. Like I said, I think the most important thing to take away from this film is just to maybe look inside a little bit and ask yourself why you enjoy the things that you enjoy and if that is healthy behavior.
Because you might be being brainwashed.
Well, yeah, or, you know, desensitized and all that kind of stuff.
I was just thinking about Videodrome.
I think I'm just a psychopath. That's what I've come down to.
Is that it?
Yeah. I'm a psychopath.
Uh-oh.
Cool.
Are you going to go try and borrow eggs from people and then hit them with a golf club?
No, I don't think I'm that bad. There's got to be like a spectrum of psychopath.
So you're like a high functioning psychopath.
Yes.
Okay. Well, no, and that's the thing is like, I mean, we've talked about it and on the podcast and together and everything. There's plenty of movies that were like, you know what I mean? Like, what is it? Was it Snowpiercer?
Oh, yeah.
That was my general reaction to it. Was just.
Well, and even just to talk about something that we're currently watching, we're watching Westworld right now, and
these violent delights have what is it? These violent delights have violent ends.
Yeah. But like, even just like me watching it as we're watching it, one of the characters, Maeve, said, "Have you seen Westworld?" well, anyway, Maeve is really brutal and murders a lot of people.
A lot of people.
But I love her. Like, and like we've been talking about this all week. Like Andrew's like, I don't know, she's kind of crazy. She's killing a lot of people. And I'm like, she's so cool.
Well, no, Becca's like super into it. I'm like, yeah, she's cool. Apart from the homicide.
And I don't know, just food for thought, I guess.
I don't know. I just think like everyone has kind of like an innate fascination for gory, brutal things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love murder podcasts and I love like cold case kind of stuff.
Same, 100%.
Yeah, and like a lot of people like that, but you know, people start to feel uncomfortable when they try to analyze, why do I actually enjoy this?
Yeah.
Like, is there something wrong with me? But I think it's just kind of, it's interesting. They're kind of morbid stories that you want to know, and it can also be a way to like educate yourself on how to be safer.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think this movie like condemns you for enjoying those things. It's just maybe encouraging you to keep it in check. And I think that more than anything, it condemns movies that are purposelessly, is that a word? Without purpose, but like ultra violent. And I think of something like Child's Play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That like that movie literally has no point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just people getting murdered.
Yeah.
Because then you think, like, I think that, again, if this movie were a person, if it sat down and watched something like Hereditary, you know what I mean? Which is very brutal and very violent. Mm-hmm. But, like, there's a lot to take away from that movie. I don't think that it's condemning enjoying media with violence. I think that it is a little bit condemning enjoying media for the violence.
Yeah, and also like you said, just like keeping yourself in check as to what the violence in the media you're watching is doing to you.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I'm not one of those people that believes that violent video games cause school shootings or something like that. I think that's completely ridiculous. But I do think that the things that you take in do have an effect on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I realize those might sound like contradictory statements, but I don't think that they are. Like, they're not going to fundamentally change who you are as a person, but like there's only so many hours in the day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like, what kind of stuff do you want to spend your time taking in?
Yep.
So that's what I meant when I said this one was probably one of the heavier movies that we've covered. And this is why we started with the chopped 4 ingredients. Because it is somber and it is depressing and it is like, I mean, we say all of these, like I say all these things, not exonerating myself in any way. Like, I'm very much in that camp of people who have sat down to watch something just for the violence. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
We're all imperfect people.
This is true.
I feel like this has mostly been me talking, and I apologize, listeners.
I didn't really have anything to say, so have at it.
I talked a lot at the beginning.
That's true. In any case. Anything else?
I think we kind of covered as much as we really can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Without the existential just like shooting up. I can't take much more.
Much more existential dread.
Yeah.
What's the highest the scale has ever reached?
There was like a point last year where I was like super stressed about school and just my life, and it was pretty high back then.
Wow.
So, you know, Prozac's really helping take it down. That's good. So we're slowly decreasing.
Let's get that baseline down. When we watch Paddington 2, I want to try and get you down to a 60.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, we're going to get whatever trivia we have, and then we're going to do final thoughts, rating out of 10, and we're going to put this movie on the Weston scale, which is the only definitive way to rank movies on a scale of 1 to 10. Sid, what do you have for us?
So I don't have too much for this one.
Yeah, I read the trivia trying to see if I could figure out how long that one take was, and I was like, oh, there's only 6 trivia things here.
Yeah, so not too much. So Tim Roth, who played the dad, said that the film pretty much abused him and he'll never watch it, mostly because the kid who played his son resembles his own son, and he just wasn't into it.
It's a fat yikes.
And yeah, so the production crew used the blueprints from the Oh, my phone just told me it's time for bed.
Bye, Sid.
See ya. I gotta go, guys.
It's time for bed.
Yeah, so they just took the blueprints from the first set and remade them as the new one. Yeah. Okay. The only suggestion that Michael Haneke accepted from the actors is that Anne get undressed earlier than she did in the original, because it makes her more vulnerable.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then one of the main points with Paul being able to speak to the audience and control time is just that he's always in control. And that's all I have for you guys.
Well, that's some trivia. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It is like pretty freaky that how in control he is. Like, that would be terrifying.
Even when she's like finding the dog in the trunk and he looks back and just looks at you.
Yeah.
Ugh. He's so gross. Awesome character though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Becca, your final thoughts and rating out of 10.
Can we not start with me this time?
What?
I just
I can go.
I feel like I just want to I feel like I can't rate it yet.
You can't abstain.
Well, I'll rate it.
All right, Sid, you go.
Okay. I don't feel like I have too much else to say. There are things that I appreciated, not necessarily enjoyed. It's definitely one that I'll be thinking about for a while, not really one that I will want to revisit anytime soon. But yeah, solid performances. Just like it's a pretty good story. Yeah, good characters. I'm gonna give this one. I wasn't ready for this. 7.5.
Righto. Becca, now you're up.
No, you go. I want to go last.
Why do you get to go last? I always get to go last.
Well, now, today, I get to go last.
Let's switch it up a bit.
Fine. This might be the biggest divide in scores that we've ever had. Even bigger than Hereditary. Hereditary the gap was 8.5 to 9.4. I think this is honestly kind of an incredible movie. I think that it's very well done. I think that the themes, I guess, to me, are communicated very clearly. Becca, you said that some of the things that I mentioned you wouldn't have thought about if we hadn't talked about it, and that I find that in itself interesting. But I think that the themes are communicated pretty clearly. I think that everybody turns in fantastic performances. I think the direction is fantastic. And again, just based on the fact of how much I've thought about this since I saw it the first time, I give this movie a 9.5.
Wow.
All right.
Jesus.
That's why I said that's 100% the biggest gulf that we've ever had.
Yeah. Well, I will say that my score is not dependent on your numbers. I've had my score since we started.
If you say 8.5, I'm turning off the podcast and walking away.
It's not 8.5.
Okay, good.
Close, but it's not 8.5. I don't know. It's just like tough for me because after immediately watching it, like, I liked it, but I didn't catch all the deep stuff. Maybe I would have if I had more time to sit and think about it by myself. I think I still would have been thinking about it for a long time. I just wouldn't be able to quite put my finger on exactly what it is that it's trying to say. So I'm glad that you brought it up, Andrew. But I don't know. I feel like I still need to wait to give it a score, but I'm just going to give it the score that I've been thinking about the whole podcast.
We need a score.
And that is just 8.0. Just an 8.
I feel bad for rating it low.
Mine's not that much higher than yours.
You shouldn't ever feel bad for your rating. It's your rating.
That's true.
It's like the heat of your hot take. You determine it.
Except we totally bullied Becca into rating Hereditary better.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it's okay, Sid. You can rate it however low you want, but Becca, you better rate Hereditary higher, and you better rate Birdman.
Do you want
I'll
to change?
just have
Hey,
to
we didn't make you rate anything on Birdman. You rated it what you wanted.
Maybe
I
I'll
know, but
revisit this.
you've been talking about it ever since Birdman that I should rate it higher.
Because you should.
It's incredible.
Well, just to make a point, I'm never gonna change it.
Do you? Okay, I'm sitting here. I have the Weston scale open. We can have a little revisionist corner here if you want. Do you want to change your rating on Hereditary?
Don't
Are you
give
unhappy
in to
with
peer
it?
pressure.
No,
What? The peer pressure is now to change it?
I don't understand what's happening anymore.
Other topics. How many days till midsummer?
Hang on. I need to get this score first. 8.0, 7.5, and a 9.5.
I'd say it's like 8.4.
8?
Well, because 8.5 would be in the middle of 7.5 and 9.5, but
That's
mine
true.
was all lower than 8.5.
8.4 it is. Wow, that's a huge divide between all of us. Like, we're usually maybe 0.2 to 0.3 points off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I like that. We need to do more movies like this. Not horrendously disturbing, but like
Please.
with stratified opinions.
Yeah.
That ties it with Slumdog Millionaire. That's weird.
What the?
Huh.
But pretty much right in the middle. All right, Becca, here's the thing. I'm going to give you the opportunity since you're complaining about it so much. Do you want to change a score?
No, I'm saying I don't want to change the score.
You're happy with an 8.5 on Hereditary?
Oh, we're talking about Hereditary. Yeah, I did do that.
I think you did
of my
already.
own free will. I didn't change Birdman.
No, but I think you did adjust your score for Hereditary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sid, what about you? Are you still happy with an 8.8 for Hereditary?
I may need to give it another watch.
Ooh, yeah, you do. It's so freaking good.
Yes, we'll wait on
Hard
that one.
movie.
Yes.
I'm happy with my 9.4. I'm pleased with that. That's fine. All right, let's get into some other topics. If this is where you leave us, we understand. We're basically just going to go over other things that we've been watching, what we're interested in, and how long until Midsummer comes out. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do so via email, contact@wewatchpodcast.com. You can find us on all the social medias at WeWatchPodcast. That's that's Facebook.com/WeWatchPodcast, Twitter @WeWatchPodcast, Instagram @WeWatchPodcast. All of it. We love you. Other topics. What do we got, guys?
I watched Enemy.
Yeah.
You didn't wait for us. We've pulled it like 50 million times for the podcast.
Yeah, I was like, let's do it. I really liked it. I'm still trying to process it. And I watched like a video analysis of it
Did you watch
today.
the Chris Stuckman one?
I think so.
Yeah.
Was it like the 20-minute one?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So that really helped me to kind of, I don't know, just like really think through the movie and understand what actually just happened. I still think I need some more time to fully form an opinion about it. But like, I love anything Denis Villeneuve will put out there. So I did really enjoy it. I'm still just struggling to figure out how much.
Yeah, that's one I'm constantly anxious to watch that movie again because it's most likely a 10 for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just need to confirm it. That movie's so outstanding.
Yeah. It was really, and just like 2 Jake Gyllenhaals.
Yeah, right?
Could you
What
get
more
any
could you
better?
want?
Well, and
Ryan
it's
Gosling. That's what more you could.
Let's get
It's-
4. 2 Ryan Goslings, 2 Jake Gyllenhaals, all in one movie.
it's pretty obtuse, but that ending is still just legendary. Did you know about it before going
Yeah.
in? That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know.
Because we had no idea.
It was such a shock.
Yeah.
He just goes around the corner and
Ugh.
then it just ends.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so freaking good. But yeah, that's one I still would love to do that one for the podcast.
Yeah.
I think
really good.
that's one. Again, if our mission is to help people gain a deeper understanding and appreciation of film, that's one that I think deserves to be expounded upon because there's a lot going on there and more than we have time for in this small segment. What else?
I watched Anima. So it's,
Was that the PTA thing on
Yes.
Netflix?
it was so good.
I need to watch it. I've been listening to the album, but I haven't watched the thing on Netflix.
It was only 15 minutes, and like I don't know too much of Tom York or Radiohead.
Well, that's a freaking shame.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I'm probably gonna listen to him now because of it, but it's just it's so cool. Like it's pretty much just like a bunch of dancers. So Becca would love it, but the choreography is so cool, and it's just yeah. I was just like sitting there, just like with my mouth open like an idiot.
So, do you listen to music while you drive?
Yes.
Okay. Before you leave our home,
What am I listening to?
you're gonna listen to In Rainbows.
In Rainbows. Okay.
It's the best Radiohead album.
Okay.
And don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Okay, I won't. Yeah, and then I saw Child's Play 2. Child's Play as well.
Oh.
It was fine,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then I saw Toy Story 4, and I cried like an idiot, like a stupid baby.
Was it good?
It was so good.
Do you have to have seen Toy Story 3?
You haven't seen Toy Story 3?
I don't think so.
What?
Go watch it right now.
I'm busy right now. I'm doing a podcast.
Go watch it when we're done.
We're gonna go play Alien Isolation.
Oh my gosh. I mean, like, you don't have to, but it's
Why
better.
wouldn't you?
It's so good.
So again, there's only so many hours in the day, and I'd rather finish up watching rest of PTA's films. PTA being Paul Thomas Anderson for the uninitiated.
The Parent Teacher Association. We love them.
I'd rather just go watch The Master like 3 or 4 times.
Just give it a watch. It's a great one. I love it.
I actually think I'm gonna watch Boogie Nights next.
Oh, that one's good. That one's really good.
Yeah.
All right, and that's pretty much all I have watched.
We've been constantly reminding me why I don't like TV by watching Westworld.
I love it.
It's so good.
That's pretty much all we've been watching.
Yeah, it sucks. I look at my movie list now, and ever since we started watching Westworld, it's just nothing. We went and saw Child's Play. Not a whole lot to say. It was fine.
I mean, like, it was fun, but there wasn't really anything
It
to
was
it.
fun until they killed the old black lady.
Yeah, that was,
I was like
cross the line.
I was
a
like,
bit.
Yeah.
give me deaths that I can cheer for here as I
Yeah.
completely contradict everything that we've just talked about on this podcast. You know what I mean? Like, that made me so mad. I was
Yeah.
like, she's just a nice old lady. She didn't have anything to do with this. Chucky didn't need to murder her.
Yeah. I thought that, like, he was going to, like, crash the car and, like, she'd be hurt, but she'd be fine. I didn't
Same.
think
And then he
would just-
jumps in and stabs her.
Yeah, it was
Jeez.
all like that was pretty gruesome. Just
Yeah.
like the way he's controlling the car. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, Mark Hamill did do a really good job, though,
Yeah.
as he always does. He's an incredible voice actor.
Right. I think I've talked about this movie before, but Brigsby Bear. So I love that movie. It's great. I highly recommend it. But pretty much in it, Mark Hamill voices like this animatronic bear that's like supposed to be like all like cute and cuddly. And so as soon as Chucky started talking, I was just like, I can't see anything other than Brigsby Bear. And it kind of ruined the movie for me.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's
great movie. Watch Brigsby Bear.
Brigsby Bear.
Yep.
All right. And that's it. We've just been watching Westworld. Which, again, Westworld is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are into TV, you should watch Westworld because it's some of the better TV that I've ever seen. It's written by Jonathan Nolan, who is the actual secret behind all of Christopher Nolan's movies because he pretty much writes all of them. So the storytelling is really good. There's a lot of twists that you won't see coming. It is a really interesting meditation on some of the themes explored by things like Blade Runner and the new Alien movies, as far as what is consciousness, what does it mean to be human, what is life, what is the meaning of death, getting to know your true self, understanding our inner desires as humans. All of those kind of things are explored in very effective ways. It's fantastic. I hate, this is what I don't like about TV, is it just keeps going, right? Like, I like to sit down for between 1.5 and 3 hours and just have a thing.
Yeah.
And like, when it's done, I'm done. But like Westworld or any other TV, I'm like, I sit down for an hour and then it's over, and I'm like, God, do I want to give this another hour? And then I'm like, oh shoot, but I have to give it 7 more hours because I'm only on episode 3.
Yeah. But it does also help with like the HBO shows. There are longer episodes, but
10 of them.
Yeah. So there's really not that many episodes, so it is easier to like kind of talk myself into it.
Every TV show ever should never have, unless you're like a sitcom, should never have more than 10 episodes in a season.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's super effective. Like I love TV shows, and like 10 hours gives you a lot of time to really like get into something.
Yeah.
That's true.
It just takes a long time to watch through.
I just prefer movies myself.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier. Like, it's easier to convince Becca to sit down to watch something for an hour than for 2 hours on any given night. So.
Yep.
I'll take what I can get. Midsummer. We're going. Today is Friday. We're going to see Midsummer on Tuesday.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I won't be there. I'll be there in spirit.
You will be there in spirit.
Yes.
But then we can't do it for the podcast next week.
Sorry.
Unfortunately. So it will be not next week, but the following week will be our episode on Midsummer. We will have seen it twice because we're going to go on Tuesday, and then we're going to go together as a podcast crew to see it again. So
that we can watch the movie and then talk about it.
We just want to be true to the name.
Yes.
Because that's what makes a numbered episode versus a not numbered episode, right?
Whether or not we watched it before we talked about it.
Exactly. And I will quit the podcast if Midsummer is not episode 37. I'll do it.
Okay. 37? I thought this was episode 34.
This is 35.
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, folks. That'll do it for us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We love you. Again, if you want to get in contact with us, we'd love to hear from you. Any movie suggestions, if you think we're stupid, if you think we totally misread Funny Games and you want to educate us, contact at wewatchpodcast.com. Slide into the DMs. Sid and Becca do a fantastic job at managing our Instagram and Facebook accounts. Facebook.com/WeWatchPodcast. Instagram at WeWatchPodcast. We have a Twitter account. I won't see it if you DM me there because I don't use it. But I need to start. We love you. We thank you. We appreciate you. Tell your mom about the podcast. We'd love to have your mom listening to us. She seems like a nice lady. We'll see you next week. We love you. What are you going to say, Becca? Becca just leaned in to say something and then she didn't.
No, I was going to say, but if you've already told your mom, you should tell someone else now.
Yes.
Yeah, if you've already told your
everyone.
mom, tell your friends.
You should tell your cousin.
And then
you should
tell your friends to tell their moms.
Yes.
Here's the thing. If we could get like a 90s style email chain that says like, listen to 5 episodes of We Watch Movies and then talk about them or you'll have bad luck for 25 years. I would love to get an email chain like that going. And if you really love us, leave us a review on iTunes so that when I search for our podcast, I don't have to go to page 3. We thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next week.
See ya. Bye.